I think it's so interesting that she had a Met Gala event, but people don't realize that Met Gala is not really a thing.
What do you
The Met
mean?
Gala has a theme.
Things, right?
So when you say it's a Met Gala, I mean,
You should have came
in
up with
other words, you should have just said dress to impress. I'm
press.
just saying. I
Got
don't
it
know.
a little bit. I got it.
She, it's all right. It's all right, Kiwi or Kiana, whatever you want
Kiana.
to call her by.
Kiana.
So you know I got to lean in.
What's up, everybody? It's me again, and it's time to lean in, bitch. We're here for Ladies Who List Atlanta, episode 7, I think, titled No New Friends. And that title is very interesting because I don't think anybody in this cast are friends at this
Right. You
point.
feel like that's still your consensus right there.
Well, except for Tiana and Tiffany. They seem to be friends.
Yeah.
Everybody else are just they in the real estate industry.
They right. They
That's
associate.
it. That's all it proves. But
Mhm.
we're gonna get into the episode tonight. Asia's not here with us today, but it's interesting because Jasmine, you weren't here last week, and so I'm curious to know your perspective on the situation that was continued into this episode. But how you doing today?
I'm fine. I miss you guys. I'm so sorry, but
It's all,
relax,
it's all right.
like
You
you
know, I like
should.
to have somebody here, so it's good to alternate sometimes because we have I think next week is next week the finale. I thought it would be 8 episodes, but I don't know if next week
Is
the
it the
finale.
finale?
It didn't
It
say, so maybe it's not.
It didn't. Okay. It didn't
Hmm.
really give me the ending of the last.
Yeah, maybe it's not. 'Cause I thought they said that Kiana said it was 8 episodes, but next week will be 8. So, or this week rather. So, I don't know. We'll see. I guess whenever we get to the finale, it should be soon. I don't see them getting any more than 10 episodes though.
Me neither.
I thought it'd be 8, but we'll see. Did you happen to run? You see, Crystal did another interview.
Oh no.
She
Are you
did it
gonna?
with DJ Richie Sky. I didn't watch the interview, but I was hoping that I should have sent it to you so you could look at it too.
We'll look now.
Yeah. And she, they have kind of been on a little tour. We've had Kiana did an interview with DJ Richie Sky recently. So Crystal did one with Kempire, and then now DJ Richie Sky. So I guess she's trying to get all her stuff out, child. I think Robin may have done a few. She's always live. I usually join Robin's live.
Okay.
But before we get started, if you're watching right now, thank you for watching. But go ahead and hit that like button to support the channel and subscribe to the channel so you know when all videos are posted, whether it's live, whether it's pre-recorded like this one. Lots of new things coming up in the future. All right, Jazz. So you were here last week. What is your perspective on the situation between Kiana and Robin? Because it happened last week. It continues this week. It actually escalates this week.
It escalates. Right.
I kind of saw that last week when we saw the little piece with Tiffany. I'm sorry, Tiana kind of messed up her name. But what's your honest thought, and whose side are you on in this
Robin.
situation?
Okay, I'm Team Robin.
I was Robin too. Asia was Kiana.
I definitely am empathetic to struggling with pregnancy. You know what I'm saying, and having that issue. We women we struggle with it, but it's one thing to kind of grab something that's really not towards you.
Yeah.
I can understand in the moment that she felt like that, but once it was broken down, she should have apologized.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, honestly, I think if you put it that way, they both could have given a nice apology. I don't think like we said last week, it wasn't Robin's intent to hurt her, and she wasn't talking to her. I think it's very true.
Yeah.
But at some point, I do feel like Robin could have been like, my bad if something's going on with you. I didn't know that, and which she kind of it seemed like she kind of figured out towards like the end of it that something may have triggered Kiana. Right. But instead of like apologize, she kind of kept poking at it. She was just like, I'm sorry if I triggered. Like I'm like, oh Lord.
The thing about it is, And this is why I'm just gonna admit I'm Team Robin at this point. It's okay. I'm okay.
And I am too. I actually am too. So you're not the only one.
I
actually am. I'm very fond of Robin.
Trying not to be. It's just I wanted to, because I was Team Drew kind of quick, and then I got slowly slapped in my face for it. So I wanted to gradually be in it. But one thing is for certain for me, by how I relate to her, is I do not like apologizing for shit that I did not honestly do. And like, I get it, but you have to understand that this was a conversation about Crystal. Crystal does not have kids. This is me talking about Crystal. Now, like you said, she could have apologized for just like not being sensitive. But if you are having internal issues about not being able to procreate and you're turning 40, I get it. I'm about to be 34. I'm scared. So I'm like, bitch, I am scared. Like, it ain't that I'm scared. I'm just like, you met me when I was 22 years old, Cortez. I'm almost 34 years old. So we are growing up. So I get that. I do, Kiana, I get it. But
she was projecting, which I said that last week. Before she even said this week, I said I like it's interesting that they show, her journey of what's it? Fertility or whatever, her fertility journey. And so seeing that, I was like, oh, it all ties in, which honestly, them showing us that further shows that she was projecting, but I do think Robin, could probably work on a few things. I mean, she wasn't directed at her, and I understand the whole, like, I should apologize if I don't feel like I did anything wrong, but at the same time, it's kind of like, the girl, but it didn't help that Robin was so, not Robin, that Kiana was so offended that she kind of started to, she kind of started to attack Robin. And I think that kind of stopped Robin. That took Robin to defense mode. And I also feel like this is a moment where we kind of see that Robin really don't care for Kiana like that. I still feel like she's holding some of that resentment from the whole money issue they had earlier, because she made a comment. She was like, everything's not about you. And then she was just like, Kiana, you think everything's about you. It's not about you, blah, blah. And then, it was just a lot going on. And so I just feel like, that just kind of showed that. But also, Tiana got involved. And Tiana, she really was kind of showing that she understood both sides. But I think she was more frustrated that they were arguing over that. You know what I'm saying? That she got frustrated. And
I really thought more so with Tiana and Kiana was because that you're right. I feel like she saw both sides. But every time Tiana was trying to say, like, some people might, feel strongly or be sensitive about something, it's not being sensitive. It's not about being it's
right. And so while trying to, reel it back in, she kept cutting her off. She kept she was so defensive. She had went in complete attack mode. And it got to the point to where Tiana's like, well, girl, what is it? Like, if you hurt, just say you hurt. Like, and she's like, I'm not hurt. I'm not hurt. Like, okay, so then what is it? Like, come on now. You can't sit here. You're clearly upset about something. So just express yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, at this point, we're all confused. Nobody knows the story but you. At this point, I don't think anybody knew. Well, I don't know who knew in the moment at the ranch who, like, if she had issues with fertility, but clearly she was showing it, and they were all confused. So this is a situation where I'm not saying that she need to share this, but it's like, girl, like,
it would have been a time to bond.
It would have been a time to bond, and maybe go ahead and let the girls know, like, listen, this is what I'm going through. This is why I hurt. But she was so defensive, and she was so, like, shut down to where she was like, oh, you can't hurt me. You can't say a motherfucking thing to me. You can't correct me because, I was just like, oh my God. And Robin on the side just throwing more salt. She's constantly going, she's like, I'm sorry. She said, I said something, you gave an opinion. And she was like, no, you're not. She said, she said, I'm going to correct you every time. She's like, no, you're not correcting me. You give me an opinion. And I'm just like, Chad, this is a mess. So,
but what's so funny? Robin was the one that's like doesn't play well with women and things like that. But Kiana kind of gives me that same vibe, like she does with women.
Yes,
right.
And that's why I think the conversation that they had afterwards, where Robin was actually giving Kiana some good advice.
She was.
But I think she should also apply it to herself a little bit too. Like, I think they both, it may not be as strong with Kiana as it is Robin in terms of like that type of personality, but she could definitely learn how to be a little nicer. You know what I'm saying? Because Kiana when she was talking about how she knows how to deal with, you know, people like Robin, but people like Tiana who kind of do things and hide their hands. She kind of is that person too. Yes. She's actually a mean girl. She just likes to portray herself as, you know, a really nice person, and I don't think she's as nice as she thinks she is. No. But I do think Robin should have probably take her own advice too.
She said, "I only am telling you this because I had to work. I have to work on it."
But she still got more work to do, and I love Robin. She has more work. She has more room to grow.
Right, getting acclimated to like the corporate world. Like I had to work on my soft skills, because at the end of the day, like I'm professional, but it's a level of like bite tonguery that you have to do to maintain yourself. So it's soft skills is a thing that we probably don't come natural with us. So
okay. And this comment, child, Tiana don't say much,
but when she said,
I'm telling you right now, you not my type.
Yeah, that's a classy big read. They like that. You can say what you want about Tiana. Like, oh, I did. Like, even Robin was like, Tiana doesn't act like this.
But she was like, she doesn't act like this, but when she does, and then you know what? Them type of people you want to be scared of. And, I mean, not scared, but them type of people you want to be worried about, because you know she was this really irritated by. I think she is just like Kiana. She was just so shut down and so defensive. It wasn't working for her. Like Tiana really was trying to be or like help her, you know, while remaining neutral. And Robin didn't take offense to it. You know, she really was speaking more to Kiana, but Kiana got upset and child. She said, like, you're really not my type. And I'm
really not my type. I said, like,
that's not my type either. I'm like, well, fine. She's like, girl, I don't care.
I mean, but I think they all have a level of respect for Tiana that is, you know, like if anybody else, like when Drew says, I have perfect hair, I have a perfect marriage, I have perfect kids, we're all looking at this bitch like, okay, whatever.
Right.
But when Tiana was like, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I was like, dust your shit, bitch. Because at the end of the day, you didn't have, like, she doesn't approach people like that, and she doesn't give that air off.
Yeah, no. She doesn't really get involved. She seeks she seems to be very like the most like level-headed, down-to-earth person of the entire cast. I have some reservations on Tiffany. Like, I do like her, but some things about her as I watch is like,
I believe Crystal. I believe Crystal. I don't
know if I believe Crystal. I wouldn't go that far.
I believe Crystal in that moment. She said she's never been that nice girl. I believed her when she said it. I don't think that it matters because Crystal's not a nice girl, but I believed her. I believe that there's a little bit of something in Tiffany for sure.
Yeah. But I thought it was interesting that Tiffany kind of shared. I mean, Tiana shared that her and Kiana weren't really friends. So realistically, like I said, it seems like the only friendship is Tiana and Tiffany. Tiffany is friends with Kiana. Tiana is just associated with Kiana because of Tiffany. And it's just like, you know, that's it. So I really wish that, you know, there was, I feel like with any ensemble cast, you got to have some kind of friendships, because then you just get all these arguments. I feel like they just happen. I mean, look at Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, child. It's just a whole mess.
Yes. Nobody is just really related to each other. Like, they can't relate to each other. You got Whitney that's young. She's still like, she's out the Mormon stuff. And then you got Heather. She got, it's a lot of differences.
The reason why they're in the same group here is because they're all in real estate. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. That's really it. And so we get so they actually did make up, Robin and Kiana, you know what I'm saying? But it really they kind of was like, you know, because they had their own talk, and then, you know, they kind of saw that they are going to move forward in some kind of way. But as far as Tiana and Kiana, she said that they stood in the gray.
Yeah, they stood in the gray.
And she said, we in the gray, you agree, right? She was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Right, because honestly, Tiana really, I don't feel as though that she really was just.
Tiana was over her. When she made that comment that you're not my type, that was very clear. There is no coming back from that. Not saying she should, but that's very like, girl, I don't fuck with girls like you.
Type.
And that's a very strong.
But even in that conversation, that just shows again that Kiana is like she's different. Like she even right there. I mean, we're not gray black. I mean, we're not white black. We're just in the gray, right? Like it's just like right there. Just leave that shit. Let it go. Yeah. Like you didn't even have to say that, girl. Yeah. Just let it go.
Okay. Well, they show a scene of Kira closing on another home. Last week, I was telling Asia I was worried that B Simone was the only client, honey, but it's not. She closed a new home. This is kudos to her. Mm-hmm. Another home showed on the show. No shade to selling Tampa, child, but I'm just saying they're at least inserting these homes. But I also a part of me feels like it seemed like it was just placed in there. You know what I'm saying? Even the scene with Crystal with her
daddy.
Who was her daddy, right? Mm-hmm. So they just like I'm not really interested in many of their scenes solo. I guess I haven't had the chance to build that kind of connection with them yet. Mm-hmm. But some of these scenes just feel like a little, I don't know, like copied and
what?
Just like they just like the editing room is like, oh, let me add this in here. Oh, let me add that in there.
Okay,
it just seems like it's not a good flow.
I'm glad that she's doing better. Kira.
Yeah, she is. Okay, so then we have Crystal Crystal's at her closing, and one of her closings or whatever for this $1 million home, mm-hmm. and the house is everything. I'm like, where is that in Atlanta? That's a lot of fucking land. Yeah, and that is a mansion. Yeah. Well, kudos to her for that. And then she gets a call from Kiana, who is celebrating her 40th birthday party, which we've already known she's turning 40. Mm-hmm. And they're just talking about the whole party Met Gala, which is personally, like I said, the Met Gala is not a theme. The Met Gala has a theme. Sure, you know what I'm saying? Sure. I guess what she's trying to say is just come looking like a bad bitch.
Like, just be
right. And so while on the phone, Kiana's telling Crystal about the guest list, and she mentions Robin, and she's just like, oh, okay, you invited Robin. And then she's like, Tiffany, she was just like, yeah, I really have a problem with Tiffany. She has a problem with me. And like, cool. Right. I'll be there at the party, but she has a problem with me or whatever. And then I agreed to talk to her because Robin said she was coming to the poly party. So I told her I would talk to Tiffany. Right. I mean, yeah, Tiffany. So I'm just like, okay. So at this point, both of them are at this moment have said, yeah, I really don't know her. Like she has a problem with me. They both are saying the same damn thing. What's your thoughts on this?
I think that between the two, I think that Crystal has more of the problem between the two when it comes to one another. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that Crystal is, of course, a bald-faced liar when it comes to not knowing or having a problem with her, because from the first episode of that meeting or second episode, whatever, it was very clear that she had a little problem with Tiana, and she had a problem with Tiffany, and she had a problem with both of them too, because one of them left and the other one was having with Robin after the end of the day. So she had a problem with her. So I don't really understand the lies. Like Tiffany, I think that first of all, I think Robin should have told the truth about how she's brought up, because she said, how was I even brought up? And she was like, well, no, she was just saying she didn't have a problem with you. But Robin brought that up. She was like, is there something there? Because obviously there seems to be some type of tension or some type of something that's been brought up. And it's like, really, the lies with Crystal, I can't take.
Yeah. Do you think that it's because Tiffany, reached out to Robin after the whole trigger thing, or do you think it's way deeper than that?
Well, I think that they probably weren't each other's type long ago,
and so I think that it made it worse.
I think it
made it worse. Kind of made her a little jealous, and it's like to find out, because she was in last week's episode, she was fine until she heard that she had hung out with Tiffany. She was like, oh. And she had already said earlier, like, Tiffany, like, that's my friend. She don't know my friend. Right. So she's very protective of Robin for some reason. But
we also know that Crystal is lying again because she's calculated, and we know that she invited Kira to that brunch for business to piss Tiffany off because she
Of
had
course.
her thing right after. So it's just a whole lot. Like,
Okay. So, we're at the Met Gala event. We talked about the event was nice, as I will say. Everybody was dressed nice. The event was nice.
She throws a party.
Huh?
She throws a party.
She throws a party. Everybody just kind of just there and talking, and then there's this weird, awkward way to set up the Tiffany and Crystal conversation because all the women are like leaving. Right. She's like, "Oh, you leaving? Oh, you leaving too?" Right. Well, I guess it's just us two. I guess we're just talking. I'm like, this is awkward.
Yeah.
And it's so I'm just like, here they go again. Somebody's having another conversation. They want to Kiana's event.
Yes, right.
But we have Tiffany and Crystal finally talking. And when talking, it comes out that Crystal's just like, listen, we've been around each other. We've never really spoken to each other. You've always been over here, over there. I've always been over here. And she just kind of finds it odd and thinks it's off that they have never spoken because they're in the same industry and they're Black girl magic. Yeah. And, think they're the only the Black women closing attorneys in Atlanta. And Tiffany's just like, honestly, I'm just not really a person that goes in the room talking to people like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm more of an introvert. You know what I'm saying? I've seen you. And she feels like Crystal is putting it all on her as to why they haven't become friends or had a conversation. And so my initial thoughts is, okay, well, Crystal, if that's the approach you're going to take, then I think it looks kind of crazy because you haven't really tried either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's like when somebody say, you ain't called me. You ain't called me either.
You ain't called me either.
Two ways. So it's like, if she should have came up with something else, because when she went that way of saying like, you haven't tried with me, was like, girl, you haven't tried with her.
Right. Simple I think that Crystal was just drunk, actually. So
Crystal was a little weird, and
but then Tiffany say that they went on trips, like they've hung out before, and she's hung out, and she says they hung out in personal spaces, like just small groups, so they know each other, but she's never had any problem with it until now. So
she said that, and so Crystal is not really. It's interesting because at this point, Crystal, it seems like Crystal is trying to make up something, but Tiffany is just like, well, honestly, while we talking about us, let's talk about you bringing my client to a meeting. You know what I'm saying? And like, what's that about? And Crystal is just like, I just wanted to talk to get to know you.
Wasn't that crazy?
I'm like, so you gonna dismiss it? You don't want to talk. I mean, I get it. I get what she's trying to say. Is like, I don't want any drama. I'm trying to get to know you. Okay, well, in getting to know me,
this is the issue.
This is an issue right now that maybe you don't want to mention your issues with me, but I'm gonna mention my issues with you. So you should probably address it. Otherwise, we can never have a conversation to be friends, especially after you've done this. Yes, we're gonna bring it up.
Yeah,
because it looks shady. It looks weird. Especially given their history, but at the same time. Well, I was going to ask you, so you think that her having that meeting with Kira was like kind of wrong?
Yes, it definitely was, because I've said it from the jump that she's calculated. And she said that. She said that. I'm calculated. I'm meticulous. She said that on this last episode.
She said that Robin helps her not be that way.
And be that way.
That's what she said.
Didn't I say before we started, I said it's going to be something I'm going to have to say about Crystal, that it's not a backpedal. I still think that Crystal is a bitch. But outside of that, she's an accomplished person. And I believe that whenever you are in the jungle of whatever you're trying to accomplish, a lot of people's personalities are going to intensify, or they're going to just go wherever they need to go. When it comes to Crystal with me, she's a person that got it out the mud. So she has a way about herself that to me is just like, she's like a mean girl. But she can be a little bit. Like, it's like, okay, who's going to check me? Yeah. Who's going to check me? So I thought it was hilarious that she was like, when that girl said something about her bringing Kira to that brunch or whatever, she was like, just like you said.
She was like, I just wanted to get to know you. I was like, wait a damn minute. I'm gonna walk away. It's like, now what we're not going to do is sit here and not, okay, we talking about, she really tried to make herself a victim in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to talk to you, and you want to bring up drama and this. That. No, she took the wrong approach from the beginning. She made it seem like it was a one side thing, like as if she's tried, and she has not tried. Every time her name has come up, every time Tiffany's name has come up, Crystal's first thing to say is, I don't know her. I have to have a talk with her first because I don't insinuate there's an issue. So I wish she would have came and at least came in that way, but she didn't. And then, you know, I feel like Tiffany kind of handled it a little bit because she was just like, you know, so she was like, why do you have expectations of strangers?
Strangers.
You know, and she was just like, do you go in a room expecting to be strangers? Like in this moment, I could feel that Crystal was getting not upset, but she was getting offended. Because she basically was telling her like, oh, you out here like longing and wanting for friendships, like you searching
strangers
for validation or whatever.
Right.
And so I love the part where she's like, why do you have expectations of strangers? She was like, we're Black women, we're an attorney. She was like, yay, okay.
Good for us.
She was like, yay, okay.
She knows that shit. Like, I just think her coming to her with that, what you said, it was like she should have came a different way. I feel like her coming with that was just a ploy for her to be the victim again, because she's meticulous and she is calculated. Yeah. So the fact that she would not answer that girl's question or even she didn't
want to address it. She didn't want to answer it at all. She just did not answer. I'm like, wow.
Because she was wrong. Yeah. Because she was mad about some shit that it wasn't even that deep for you to be trying to grab that woman's business because she's being friendly to your friend, even though you don't feel as though your friend needed that type of support. She had it, and it's not up to you to be trying to be mean to somebody, because now you're back friends with Robin.
Yeah, and
now what? Like now Robin's gonna be friends with them though. So what you gonna do?
Well, Robin is playing both sides now. She's hanging out with Crystal currently. She's talking to the other girls. She's arguing with some of the other girls. You know what I'm saying? It's like Robin is finding new relationships and friendships through confrontation.
That was a game.
Yeah, it's like she's arguing with somebody, and then somebody kind of comes in and she gets closer to them. I feel like I could see her and Tiana hanging out soon. Yeah. Because now that Kiana, Kiana is like, okay, you cool, Robin, but Robin still feels the way about Kiana. Robin is the type of girl that she's the type of girl in person that she hates to be around, to work with, honestly. I'm sorry. Kiana is the type of girl that Robin hates to be around.
Yeah, she's the prototype woman.
She is the person, the exact type of woman that when she says, this is why I don't deal with women, that's Kiana. Yeah,
right. Because I think she likes Tiana a lot. I think she likes Tiffany a lot.
Yeah.
But I think she can even deal with dissension and some drama. That's why she likes Crystal. But that Kiana, she's got something that is something about her. And it's something about Robin too when it comes to Kiana. So
that's true. Very much so. Very much so. They both have something against each other. And I know you were saying something about Tiffany. So you think Tiffany? What were you saying about Tiffany? You said you had some thoughts about Tiffany.
Well, I do think Tiffany.
The thing with people like that, like, you can be an introvert, you can be that kind of person, but it doesn't. Being kind does not. You know what I'm saying? It's free. It doesn't cost nothing. So I may not want to be friends with you, but being kind versus being standoffish is different. And sometimes people like that whole mentality. I mean, this is just me. I mean, this is how I am. That's not always okay. I don't like when people say that. So it's always like, girl, like, that's how you are. But when you are in a group setting, when you're in an event, then you need to try to, especially, otherwise just stay home.
Right. If you're not going to really participate or
So I don't think Tiffany's completely innocent, but I'm still siding with her just because I don't like the approach that Crystal took. I don't think she's tried to be friends with Tiffany. I think she probably has more of an issue with Tiffany than Tiffany has an issue with her. Right. I think, like Tiffany said, I got this going on. She don't think about Crystal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I think Crystal definitely thinks about Tiffany at home when she's in the shower and when she's closing deals. Tiffany pops in her head like right here. So
I don't even think Tiffany was even that mean to Crystal. I believe that when somebody tries to bring up some fake shit to you and trying to be like a victim on it, like, why you haven't been my friend? You be around me all the time and you don't even speak. And it's just like, girl, we've been around each other all the time. You've never had a problem with that. So out of nowhere with the cameras rolling, you're going to be that. So I understood her like sharpness when it came to Crystal.
Oh yeah, she was not backing down.
She was not.
Crystal had the wrong one. If she wanted some type of sympathy, she wasn't getting it.
Was not getting it. Crystal was being facetious to me. She was gaslighting to me.
Very much so. If she tried to say that, she was gaslighting.
Gaslighting, right.
Like, what the hell?
And a gaslighting, screaming motherfucker.
There was so much gas in that conversation. I was on full.
Goddamn gas. Now I just know that Tiffany I just have that personality. I don't think I like me and Tiffany's personality are similar, but I am a standoffish person until you get to know me. Yeah. I go into rooms pretty quiet, and I do this at work. I've just actually had an issue with this at work because I don't talk a lot. I like to mind my business, but I'm a biter when provoked. So if you provoke me, I'm going to give you a 10 every time. You can give me 1, 2, 3, or 4. I'm gonna still give you a 10. And that's a call to action for anybody. That's a call to action as far as like working on that and being aware of it. So with Tiffany, I can see, even though episode 1, her talking to her kids. Like, I know that's your kids, but she was a little like rough. So I can see she got something in her, but I feel like she is still a nice person. Like Tiana,
Tiana, which one?
Tiana
is the one that was going at Kiana earlier in the episode. Tiffany is the one we're talking about now.
No, I was saying her name is Tiana, not Tiara.
Which one?
You're not my type.
It's Tiana.
Tiana. Okay, I don't know why I was about to call her Tiara, but Tiana. I think that Tiana, is a good judge of character. So I don't think she would just hang out with somebody that was just like,
I agree.
Nasty.
I agree. I think me closing this whole thing out in my mind, when you have people like Tiffany, you know what I'm saying? I get it. Some people could be like, she's just not approachable.
Right.
But if you haven't tried to get to know a person, then you can't expect, just because we're in the same room, for us to get to know each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is, even to be in the same room, there's still effort. And there's two sides. Okay. So one person could be sitting over there and you ain't got to, sometimes go talk. Hey, how you doing? If you've tried, then you can have that whole stance of, why have you tried to get to know me? But if you have not tried, honestly, all you're doing is assuming. You can't really, you don't have the facts.
We wouldn't even be friends because I wasn't very approachable when we first met.
Right.
I was in the head.
I'm very personable. Honestly, like, I can talk to just about anybody unless they literally be like, give me the most stankiest look or attitude. Then I'm like, okay, I don't want to talk to you. But you have to do that to me. You know what I'm saying? Or if there's an aura about you that's just negative, then no, I get it. But I don't think either one, from what I've seen, neither one of them don't have that. I mean, they both at least seem like nice girls, even though they ain't.
We have to go in relationships, maintain them, get other ones, network them, so they know how to be good people. They're, you know what I'm saying?
Did you hear when they was talking and she said, I think Crystal was talking about friendships, and she was saying, like, basically, like, if a friendship hasn't gone through the trouble and issues, then it's not a real relationship. Basically, she was saying, like, talking about her and Robin, and it was like, I don't know.
I don't think right, and I think about that. It's just relationships in general. It could be love, it could be friendships. Yeah. They shouldn't be hard. Like, love in general should not be hard. Relationships can be bumpy because we're human. We have human errors, but it should not be hard to be someone's friend. And it shouldn't be hard to be in someone's life. So
I think she was just trying to say, like, when she's probably saying, like, we've been through some stuff which has tested us, and so that's how I know we're good friends, and that's fine. But child, you shouldn't look forward to issues and y'all falling out to get back stronger. Like, if it happens, sure. But that shouldn't be an expectation of a relationship. So I just thought it was interesting when she said that. I was like, okay, girl, no.
But that shows a lot about, like, how she might view her relationships with men as well. Like,
men and her relationship with Robin. That's probably why she does the things she does to Robin, so she can try to Maybe she testing Robin. I don't know, but
I got friends that we've fallen out and we're strong, and I got friends I've never had a fight besides, bitch, I'm hungry. We need to go get something to eat. Like
right.
It's all, but it should not all go underneath the same umbrella. That's it. Like she looks like a type of person that feels like everybody has love languages, but some of them can be toxic. And you know, she looks like a risk taker. She likes the poly stuff. She's interested in it. It's not a judgment, but we have to be self-aware about how we're maintaining our friendships.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, she can't talk about friends, honey, because I mean her and Robin's friendship is terrible. I think she should be quiet about her relationship.
I think she should be quiet.
I think she should be quiet about it because he's not a good representation of it. So and then we talked about everything in the episode. Episode 8 is next week. I can't really remember what the trailer was given, but I don't think it gave too much personally. Other than what happened?
Right.
I don't know. Well, whatever it is, it comes on in 2 days, and we'll talk about it next week. Because I can't think of what the trailer was.
But I thought it wasn't explosive. I don't know. It wasn't that explosive if I can't remember it.
I don't think it was that explosive either.
But it can't be the final one if it wasn't something that
I don't think it was final. It can't, because it would have said next week on the season finale of Ladies Who List Atlanta.
Right.
They didn't say that. So I'm sure it'll probably be 10 episodes. Okay. Well, with that being said, we're gonna lay down. Thank you, Jasmine. It's a great conversation. Curious to see what happens next week and hear Asia's perspective. She'll be here next week again too. Yeah. So we'll see like how she feels now about the Robin and Kiana.
I want her to come at me because I'm Team Robin now. Okay.
Oh well, you know she's still Team Kiana. So I'm curious to know like how she feels now. I know how she felt last week, but I'm curious how she knows, because Kiana actually apologized. I don't know if it was online or she got on or something and said that she apologized even like real time, saying she was projecting basically. And that's very clear too. But I mean, yeah,
that's very clear too.
That's very
clear. Love you, Tess.
We knew how to say it to know that. I mean, it was
that's very clear too. So that's so funny.
Well, thank y'all for watching. Make sure y'all like this video, and we will see y'all next week for episode 8 as we get close to this season. Y'all have a good rest of y'all Wednesday. And thank you, Jasmine. And y'all have a good night now.
Good night.